Now we move on to my personal favorite character, Hank's dad, Cotton Hill. Now, Cotton is my favorite character to draw by far because he presents a very unique challenge. And we start with the same gesture stage. The thing about Cotton, though, is that Cotton, as we all know, lost his shins in World War II, defending Texas. So what I like to do is I like to draw somebody with basically the same proportions as Hank. If Cotton had shins, he would be about Hank's height, about 6'4". He's a little wider than Hank, a little stockier. So what I do is I go ahead and I draw someone with Hank's proportions, a 6'4" tall man. This is what Cotton would look like if he had shins. Now onto the construction stage. Again, I start constructing him just as I would Hank or anybody else, and just as I would a normal man of 6'4" who has shins. Again, he's wider. Cotton's actually shaped very much like Bobby. If you look at Cotton and you look at Bobby, Cotton is basically a septuagenarian version of Bobby. They have very much the same shaped head, same shaped stomach, a lot of the same facial features, which I'm sure was completely intentional. Cotton has slightly thicker arms. Then I start indicating his legs. Indicate the bottom of his shirt. Cotton does not tuck his shirt in. There's the center line. It indicates the direction that Cotton is facing. He wears sort of a Panama style shirt. Indicate just a hint of sleeve there. Putting the shape of Cotton's head. Like I said, his head is very similar to Bobby's. Now here is where I make him Cotton. I find where his knees are. I go just below, just a little bit. Indicates where the bottom of his pant leg, where it will end up being. Put a little hem on there. And then I draw 2 feet coming right off of him. That's where they sewed him back on. Taking this extra step eliminates the possibility of drawing Cotton with a child's proportions or that of a little person, which happens fairly often. And that's step 2. Now for step 3, the first thing I like to do is erase the phantom legs that I drew initially, just so that I don't get confused, just so they don't get in the way, and so that we can definitely see that we are working with Cotton Hill. Now, Cotton has he wears pants much like Hank, so we just indicate the sort of the cylinders, but we start to sharpen them up a little bit. I like to put the little fold right where his knee is. And that also, and I put a little fold on the other side to indicate his kneecap a little bit more. It helps people to see where his leg is supposed to bend, so they don't try to put the knee in their mind higher up. It just helps define the fact that the man has no shins. Indicate the hem of his pants, his shoes. He wears sort of pull-on retired guy shoes. Same thing on this side. Indicate the knee, a little bend on the inside of the knee. Indicate his feet, a little bit of sole. Pockets, all the little extras. Now Cotton does not tuck his shirt in, so we don't have to worry about a belt, and we don't have to worry about fold lines where it goes into his pants. We indicate his shoulders. Cotton has broader shoulders than most. He's a very tough guy, even with no shins. A little stockier than most, especially for a man of his age. He has pretty good sized hands too. Put a few wrinkle lines on the back just to let people know that he's a little older. Sharpen up his left arm. Put in his thumb. His other fingers. Now for the shirt, it's fairly a wide collar shirt. So we indicate the colors. And it buttons up down the middle. There's sort of a center seam kind of thing where the buttons go. It's a different color than the rest of his shirt. So we indicate it as, instead of just one line, we indicate it as two. Put his little buttons in, 4 altogether. Pocket on that side. Pocket on both sides, actually. And then he has another little stripe of color that goes down right through the middle of his pockets all the way to the bottom of the shirt on both sides. We start cleaning up his head a little bit. Being an older gentleman, Cotton has larger ears than most, so we draw his ears a little bit bigger. Almost exactly the same hairline as Bobby's, just a little bit different. Like I said, Cotton is just essentially an older version of Bobby. Obviously more creases and lines on the side of his face. Cotton has a few layers of jowls going, I guess you could say, for lack of a better word. And he always looks like he's scowling, so you want to make his brow a little bit pronounced. We figure out where his nose is going to go. Now his nose, he has a larger nose also, just like his ears. Swoops down with a very similar shape to Luann's, actually. But it goes in further and has a more pronounced nostril. We indicate his outside nostril there, and his inside nostril actually comes down. Starts there, comes down, and actually curves up underneath like that. He has little labial folds there. Now with Cotton's mouth actually has several shapes to it. There's the main center line, which is usually curved down in his neutral pose, because his neutral pose, he looks fairly mad about something. He has a little upper lip shape there, a little lower lip shape there. Kind of as if he had dentures or well, no teeth at all. One line right there, just to kind of give him that jowl look, to sort of accent his cantankerous mood. He does not have a line to indicate his lower lip either. His chin is actually split into 2 sections. It's 2 lines like that, they do not meet in the middle. More jowl lines. Couple of wrinkle lines on the neck to indicate loose skin. Now for Cotton's eyes, his eyes are basically the same sort of shape as Hank's pupils, the open-ended circle shape. The difference is that he doesn't have any eyelids or eye lines at all. They're just basically 2 little pupils sitting right there in his eye. Right there in his head. Any expression you get are going to be from the crow's feet lines there, the lower sort of eye sac lines there, kind of like circles under his eyes, and then his fairly large eyebrows, which, like I said, are usually curved up to make him look a little angry. He has the same type of forehead lines that Hank does. His are a little bit more pronounced. They're sort of in 2 sections. They also curve down to sort of help with that beleaguered look that he has. Now with his hairline, unlike Bobby's, it's not dots. It becomes the little slash marks at the top, but the side hairline is just a solid line. They put in a little cheekbone indicator right there. There he is. Cotton Hill War Hero.